Okay, if you're watching this live on Facebook, you're about to see a little link get dropped in the comments. Ba, 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 ba. And if you're watching this on IGTV or on YouTube, I probably will forget to put the link there, but I will be able to, you will be able to find me on my social media. So, organisation is always an issue. Admin, am I right? So I was sitting on the couch having my coffee and I got to thinking about something that came up in a manifestation clear I was doing with Paisley Hart, for those of you who know him. He's one of the Spiral community, and I was doing a manifestation clear with him around social media and becoming a social media influencer and all this good stuff. So anyway, one of the things that came up was a memory about, and this has come up a few times in other clears that I've been doing over the last couple of months, so it's why it was so interesting to me. I'll find that like a memory will kind of come back over and over again, and I won't necessarily understand the full implications of why that memory keeps coming up, and they'll often be like layers to peel away. So I've done a few clears around this particular memory, and then it popped up again. I can't remember if it was during or after my session with Paisley, but it was around this idea of being the little weird kid at the party who kind of sits on the side but doesn't actually really engage in the party and doesn't really, kind of wants to be one of the cool kids but doesn't really feel like she can be or is allowed to be or whatever else. So I'm just gonna put my shorts down because I'm very aware that depending on the angle of this camera, I'm not sure whether you can actually see my vagina. And the intention is for you to not see it. I realise my intonation as I said that could have implied that maybe I wanted you to be able to see it, but you gotta pay extra for that, kids. So yeah, the memory that came up was, I must have been a teenager because I'm thinking about the people that were there, and I'm pretty sure I didn't meet a lot of them till I was at like what we call secondary school in the UK. And so I had a lot of wounding around parties and big gatherings of people and my place in those gatherings. And that's shown up throughout my life as a grown up, that I would often, when I was at a party, I would very much be the person who's like in the kitchen, unless I really know the people really well. Like I'm the person in the kitchen playing with the dog, or still might be that person, but you know, I would very much be the person who kind of sat on the outside, or I'd like to have like a leadership role. So some kind of like, I like to feel useful somehow. So like being a performer at the party or working behind the bar or whatever. And I would do this stuff because it made me feel like I'm only valuable at this party or at this gathering if I have a purpose, if I'm doing something. And when I think about even just that little part of this whole, like this little part of what this memory represents to me, think about that. Think about that blown up into my entire life. The fact that you go from having this party memory that I'm going to tell you about in a little moment, having this party memory, and then as I peel back the layers, one of the things I find is, oh, in order for me to feel comfortable at a social gathering where the reason to be there is to be social and enjoy oneself, one would imagine, apparently, so I've heard. You know, to then be the person who comes in with the stories and the baggage and the kind of like the past programming and childhood trauma around this stuff. You come into a party and it's like, oh, I know I'm going to be here to enjoy myself, but my wiring and my patterning and past stories are telling me I'm only valuable here and I can only fit in and I can only be safe here if I have a role to play, if I'm working behind the bar or if I'm performing or whatever. So I started to realise that obviously, I mean, this isn't a particularly healthy pattern to be carrying around. And when you think about it, like that's just a tiny little seed corn there. But if you imagine what that seed becomes with years and years of repatterning and reprogramming and beliefs built up around it, it becomes this massive piece of the puzzle that I think a lot of us have, which is, I'm only worth as much as I can do. I only deserve to have or receive as much as I can offer to the world. Excuse me, shifting even as I'm processing out loud. So a lot of the people who come to me, we deal with this pattern of I have to work really hard in order to make money. And a lot of them, in fact, even when they're in my containers, will be like, oh, but you work so hard. Like, you're always putting stuff out there, you're always doing something. And I'm like, it might look like that, but a lot of the time I'm actually just walking my dog, or like, you know, to me, writing and creating content is not, I say this so many times because I feel like people don't hear it, you know. It's like, I love to create content. Like, I was sitting here drinking coffee. I could easily have started reading a book, or like snuggled with my dog, gone outside and played in the garden. Like, played in the garden like I'm 5. I think part of me still is that wounded inner child that wants to play in the garden on the climbing frame. God, I love that climbing frame when I was a kid. But you know, I could have done any number of things, but I chose, because I felt so inspired and passionate to share this with you, I felt inspired to come online and, you know, tell the story. So here I am. So that's one piece. And the thing, I can already tell that this live stream is going to be one of those that covers about 800 things, and everyone's going to get something different from it, but there will be many different shades of gold. So bear with me. When I think about that pattern of I'm only valuable if I'm doing something, think about that from a business perspective, or from an energetic, like, even if it's just in relationships. If you feel like you can't relax, or like, are you the friend who always feels like, oh, I have to do more, like I have to bring a present for this person, and I have to, you know, like I have to make sure, I have to text them after and tell them how much, you know, I really enjoyed our time together, because I don't want them to think that I take them for granted. Or it's like any of these things where we're like layering on extra pieces of like trying to prove our worthiness, or like just be okay with receiving what the universe naturally wants to give us. Anytime we're kind of going like forcing something, or like feeling like we have to do more or be more in order to prove our worthiness, or how deserving we are of the life and our happiness, really, you know, or the life that we want to have, it just rewires and reinforces this belief that we have to work hard. To work hard to earn money. I have to work hard to keep a relationship afloat. I have to work hard if I want to change and grow and evolve. It has to be really hard work. Like, it doesn't actually have to be hard work. It's all about perception. It's all about, if you perceive, you know, if you're an online business owner and you perceive writing one piece of content a day and doing a live stream when you feel inspired, and doing some Instagram stories when you feel inspired, if that feels like a lot of fucking work to you, then I'd certainly be doing some digging into why it's not. But I'd also be looking at where, like, stop comparing yourself to other people for a start. Like, if the way that I market my business and the way I show up in message and constantly giving all of this free value all of the fucking time, like, I don't feel like I have to do it. I'm a creator. I want to do it. I thrive on it. I fucking love it. And so for someone who is not a creator, for someone who's not a manifesting generator, for someone who is not just like naturally really like doesn't naturally love to speak and show up and share their message from, you know, if you're not one of those people, then looking at the way I do things is probably going to be like, whoa, fuck, that's really hard work. How does she do it? But there will be some of you who watch my content or read my stuff online and go, fuck, she's shining a light on the parts of me that I'm not owning. She's showing me that there's another way to do business and I don't have to find it such hard work. And those are the people that, you know, are going to get the most out of working with me. So there was that piece around this story that kind of showed up for me around like, you have to work hard in order to earn approval or to earn love or earn your place in the pack, all of that bullshit. So the memory was, I had a party. Oh God, even talking about it now, I'm like, oh, there's like residue of embarrassment, you know, like even like sharing it, I feels like the final piece of integration. So this is why I'm doing this. When I was a teenager, like early teens, it must have been like maybe even 12, 13. My whole life I spent idolizing a particular, it's actually one kid that I used to go to school with. I absolutely idolized them. And she had blue hair, she had blue eyes, not blue hair. Although now I'd probably prefer someone with blue hair. But no, she had like this beautiful, like straight blonde hair, blue eyes, completely the opposite to me, like browny green eyes, curly brown hair, you know. And to me, for some reason, for whatever reason, this person like symbolized to me beauty and success and worthy and all of that stuff, right? The reality of it was none of that stuff was really true. I just created this mythology around this person because I had these beliefs around what someone should look like, which is probably fed to me from years of watching Disney films when I was a kid, etc., before they were as diverse and beautiful as they are now, right? And I know they've still got a long way to go, but back when I was a kid, it was like fucking everyone, apart from Snow White, I think they all had fucking like blonde hair and blue eyes and these tiny little waists, and they were all twee and ooh. And I was not that. So to me, I was like, oh, that's what it takes to be beautiful and successful and popular and famous and all the good stuff that I want from my life. Then I'm never going to get there. So I was like using her like as this, I guess, like to prove to me that I was never going to have the things that I wanted. And it's such an interesting thing, like how we perceive who we are and where we are versus the people we look at, who we perceive. Please remember, it's all about perception. So I might look at somebody and think, oh, I perceive them to have a certain level of success or a body or fitness or like a vibration, like a kind of like maybe I think they're happier than me or whatever. You know, as I'm saying this, I'm realizing I've done so much work on this patterning that's actually very rare for me to look at someone else and compare things like that anymore, because I've done a lot of mirror work, and mirror work is very powerful. But you know, if you're looking at someone else, could even be me. I mean, fucking, I don't know why it would be me. I'm human too. But if there's any of you who look at me and my business and go, fuck, I really want what she's got, but I can't have it because ... I can't work with those kind of clients because I can't show up on the internet like that because I can't swear in my live streams because I can't make the amount of money because, like, it's all bullshit. All your because is just an excuse. And I just don't have any time for excuses. Like, I don't have any time for my own, and I certainly don't have any time for my clients. I'll hold them through it and I'll help them reframe it, and we'll kind of like rip it out at the root so that they can set themselves free. Of course, I'm not a monster, but I'm not going to sit there and go, oh, I know, life is so hard. Let's talk about how hard life is. You know, I'm going to help you. My clients are very solution and results focused. So we're like always focused on the, where am I going? What am I doing? What in my internal frequency or like past trauma or the cells in my body is fucking with my ability to fully own that I am already worthy and deserving of having and being the thing. Cool, let's get rid of that. Now I feel better, great, now I can carry on my way. So the example of this particular memory was these, I had planned to have like a party, and like we were going all out, right? So we had, my parents allowed me to use this like marquee type thing. It was like back in the day before I'd actually ever been camping, like glamping. It was like a glamping tent type thing. So it's really like kind of like fancy tent. They've got a big like garden or yard. If you're in America, apparently it's called a yard. I learned this last week. I feel very educated now in the way of the world. But yeah, we call it a garden. It's like a little field. And we put this marquee up in the back garden. And the in my beautiful curly little head, I believed that this party was going to be loads of people, like something out of Skins, you know, minus the drug use, because I didn't really understand at that age. I was very sheltered, God love me. And, you know, it was just going to be this like, wow, this crazy, like, yeah. And the reason I wanted to have this party, and this is the really important thing, the reason I wanted to have this party was because I thought, if I do this, I will be this person. If I have this party, I will be really fucking cool and everyone will like me, and then all my problems will be over. I'll never feel like I don't belong ever again because I'll have all the external validation that I need from all the cool kids. Yay, won't my life be amazing? Obviously, firstly, and none of that is fucking rude. How rude, someone trying to phone me. Look at this face. This is how my face responds when someone tries to phone me. It was my mother, to be fair. But she knows. Don't phone me. I'm never gonna fucking answer. I'll phone you when I want to speak to you. That's how it rolls around here. Hands up if you agree. Decline. So, love you, Mum. I'll phone you after this, I promise. If I don't phone her like every day at the moment, she thinks that was her again. If I don't phone her every day at the moment, like she literally thinks I'm dying. This is what I grew up with, people. This is a real life demonstration of the amount of fear that I grew up around. Can you even believe it? So anyway, we'll carry on with the story regardless. So in the end, what happened was I attempted to host this party, and because now as a grown up what does a lot of like internal self-development work and that, I understand that of course if you try and become something or claim your worthiness through external circumstances, through reaching for something, through expecting that if I have this thing from outside of me, or if these people validate me in a way that I think, oh yes, that's validation. Oh my God, it's so stressful even thinking about it. Like if that's what you need in order to feel worthy, you're constantly going to feel like you have to hold the world up and be like, I was thinking of it as like having loads of spinning plates. I know I've used this kind of metaphor analogy before, like loads of spinning plates, and it feels like you're just constantly having to fucking spin them and like, oh, I hope no one realizes that I'm not actually what they think I am. And of course we can't control what other people think about us either. Like, as we know this consciously, but of course our inner children are still desperately trying to prove that they're worthy. So what actually happened at this party was that I got exactly what I needed at the time, which was, let me see, how many people? I think it was 4, maybe 5 people. Sorry, I had a notification. I have a meeting with a friend. We're having a messenger chat. We're having a coffee date, because that's how the world works now, isn't it? Which quite frankly is kind of fine by me 90% of the time, but it would be nice to actually human with some other humans in the next 6 months. You know, at some point. More than anything, it'd be nice to punch some in the face at Muay Thai. That would be great. That's what I miss most, is being able to smash pads with people and, you know, be punched by them and also punch them. So if we could sort that out, please, universe. I am open to that being a possibility very soon in a safe environment. Careful what you ask for. So yeah, what actually happened was I think I had 4 or 5 people show up and me, and it was so like, now I'm talking about it, I feel fine, but before even then I felt like a little bit of cringe when I first started talking about it, but it's gone now. This idea that anything outside of us or anyone's approval is going to change how we feel inside is such fucking bullshit. And I remember lying there, like, in this tent, just being like, okay, this is like feeling the embarrassment of only 4 or 5 people being there, and just like, if anything, it reinforced what I already believed, which was that I was an outcast and I was never going to be the popular kid or the cool kid and all that stuff. So it just reinforced the beliefs I already had. So you're seeing now, the reason I'm telling this story is because it's just a perfect example. If you're looking at your life now, maybe you're looking at your business going, why is it that I seem to get the same kind of clients coming to me? Why is it that I can't seem to attract these people? Or why is it that no one wants to work with me? Or whatever it is that you're experiencing right now. It's because you're looking outside of yourself for validation. It's only when we decide that we're worthy and we validate ourselves and we don't need that external stuff. That's ironically, of course, when it floods to us, because we become a match for it. We're telling ourselves, I'm worthy. We're believing I'm worthy, I'm deserving, I get to have all the things that I want, and it gets to be fun, and I love my life. And so those things that match that come and find us. They are magnetized to us, and it's fucking beautiful, and it gets to be so much easier than you're making it for yourself. The hard bit is, like kickstarting it. The hard bit is, kickstarting it and then remembering to stay focused on your own internal frequency. Once you're used to doing it, like anything, it just becomes a habit. And then you notice really quickly when you're out of alignment. So when I had this party, obviously I was fucking devastated, but I've been carrying that imprint of that memory and all of the emotions and all of the beliefs and everything I decided in that moment and at that party. I've been carrying that around with me my entire fucking life. I'm going to be 37 in under 2 weeks' time. You know, like that's not so far from 40, and I'm not wishing my life away, but just to illustrate a point, I'm closer to 40 than I am to 30. And I've been carrying that fucking bullshit around for over 20 fucking years. And the same will be true for you, right? You will be carrying some kind of patterning and belief system and stories from the past. It's fucking impossible not to. I don't care what anyone says. We do carry it, and that is why we must be vigilant in the way that we think about things and the care that we take about ourselves, of ourselves and the people that we surround ourselves with. We're always stepping, we have every single breath we take is a new opportunity for us to choose again. Who am I now? Who am I now? And I know that that sounds fucking relentless, and at the beginning it can feel a little bit like that. But actually, when you remind yourself why you're doing it, it's like a sense of relief. It's letting go. It's like releasing all expectation on yourself to be somebody that you're not. And the more that we release the need to have any kind of identity attached to us or have people see us in a certain way, it's so fucking freeing to just be able to show up exactly as you are every day. And that is why I have the energy to live stream, and that is why I have the energy to work with clients and have multiple programs on the go at any one time, because I don't see it as work. Like, I genuinely don't. And there was a time where I would be saying these words and part of me didn't believe it. But right now, where I am in my business and therefore moving forward from here always, I fucking mean it. And I have done for the last 6 to 8 months. I have only worked with people I fucking love. And it's just been amazing. And it just gets better. It just gets better. It just gets better. And I want you to know that that's possible for you as well. So the other piece around this story that I've been carrying with me, like this imprint that I've been carrying with me my whole fucking life, or like for at least for the last 20 odd years, is that it's around the cool kid thing. And having cleared this shit out of the way in my clearing session with Paisley a couple of weeks ago, I reached out to someone who I admire and I asked them for a quote for my website. Excuse me, shifting. 2 people I admire actually, one of whom came back with a response that I think was meant to be funny, but it had such a fucked up energy about it that I actually just decided I don't want that energy on my website, and I only really want people who are writing from a place of genuinely being passionate about me and the way I show up in the world. You know, I'm like, I don't need that. That in itself was potent and really fucking powerful. But then also the fact that I messaged someone I really fucking admire, and within minutes they got back to me and they were like, yeah, of course, and sent me some stuff, and we had a bit of a joke back and forth, and that's going to go on my website and it will have great energy about it because this person actually believes what they were saying about me and they're totally on my wavelength, and it'll be just this epic testimonial to have from having done, you know, like work for this person. And there was a time, like even before this clear, there was a time where I really didn't feel like I could just reach out to certain people and ask anything of them. I was scared that they would reject me. I was scared that they either wouldn't get back to me or they would say no, they didn't want to do the thing I was asking them to do. Or I would ask them for something and they would say, actually, I don't really believe in your work, so I'm not going to do that. I'd be like, oh God, wounded. And in fact, I reached out to someone who I consider, you know, certainly like a colleague, a peer, who I admire. Again, I think he's an amazing performer, etc. And I asked him if he'd do something for my book launch, and he said yes. And then he was like, fuck, I've taken on way too much. I really don't think I've got time to do this. I'm so sorry, I'm gonna have to retract my yes. And I was like, oh man, that's totally fine. And I felt no trigger whatsoever. So ever since doing that clearing session with Paisley, I've had all these different pieces of integration around being okay with asking for stuff, being okay with other people's yes and their no, and knowing there's actually nothing to do with me. And because my asking is coming from such a congruent, grounded, like authentic place of just genuine, like, could you do this for me? People feel okay saying yes and they feel okay saying no. and there's no weirdness, and it's so liberating. And I didn't realize up until this week how much that one memory, and probably multiple ones before and after that, to just reinforce it and really crystallize all those juicy limiting beliefs I was carrying before. You know, I had no idea how much it was really holding me back from truly connecting with other humans and being able to ask for what I want and being able to actually enjoy myself. And one of the biggest things that's happened since shifting that shit out of the way has really been my energy levels have been so much. I mean, I'm drinking a lot of coffee, I'll give you that. This lockdown has not done anything for my caffeine addiction. Let me tell you, Lavazza are making a fuck ton of money out of me right now. Bring me the beans. But what's been really fascinating is the increase in my energy, like the pureness of the energy that I have now, and how it just feels like I'm continually connected. I'm giving myself permission to rest, but I'm also feeling more energized in general. And it's a direct result of shifting that shit out of the way, because now I'm not worrying. I've like shed another layer of giving a fuck what people think, basically. So all of this has been a very expansive and long preamble. I put a link in the comments below, which is all about, I don't know if anyone's been commenting. I see people have been watching on and off and whatnot, but I don't have any comments come through for some reason. So maybe you've just been basking in my radiance. See what I did there? Mastermind. The business coven radiance will be receiving applications. If you'd like to apply, please drop me a message. I'll send you an application form. But the reason I dropped the link that I have dropped in the comments below is because I would love for you to join me and all of my other peeps for, it could very well be a birthday party as well as a book launch party. I'm just waiting for final confirmation on the date. But my book, From Hot Mess to Success, is being launched in the next couple of weeks, and I would love for you to come and join me. The book is going to be for sale for it's either 99p or 99 cents. I'm not actually sure yet until it's up and running. I have no idea. Publishing people are in charge of that. I trust them implicitly. They've done an amazing job shepherding me into actually getting this fucking thing out into the world. And it's going to be, basically I'm having a party. So I wouldn't be able to do this. I wouldn't be able to have a fucking party for my book launch if I hadn't cleared that shit out the other week. Like, everything is so perfectly timed. And I'm going to have a few of my amazing friends do. We've got a couple of dance related workshops, but I'm not going to give away too much. You got to get in the groove if you want to know more. I'm going to be reading excerpts from the book. I'm going to do a Q&A on the writing of the book and the content and all of that good stuff. There's going to be coaching in there as well. People have asked me if I'll do a coaching live stream. Absolutely. I'm going to do some EFT, probably do some emotional clearing, meditation, might do some card pulls. I basically want it to feel like a really fucking fun place to be for the day, because there's a lot of shit going on in the world right now. My book is a gut punch of self-responsibility and empowerment. So for me, it's really about injecting a piece of earth grounded fire into your life right now to remind you who the fuck you are, that you get to do, be, and have everything that you desire in life. And if you want to come and play at my party, I'd love to have you there. The link is in the comments. Come and join us. Love you, bye.